Stéphane Dion's Revisionist History. I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.media. The Liberals won the election last October. We can all agree on that, right? It's a fact. We all know it. But has anybody told the Liberals? Do they know this? Because they're still running around the country bad-mouthing the Harper Conservatives and pumping themselves up as if there's an election campaign still on. Now, I get it. New government comes to power. Doesn't matter which party they belong to. The new government comes in and they want to spend time bad-mouthing the record of the old guys. They want to blame every problem on the other guys. I understand that, and I know that that is partly what Stéphane Dion in particular is doing right now, but there also comes a tipping point, and that tipping point for me is his continued revisionist history when it comes to Canada's place on the world stage. Liberals and Conservatives have different views of how Canada should interact. The Liberals lean more towards the United Nations. The Conservatives under Stephen Harper leaned more towards the G7, the G20, NATO, and the like. But listening to Dion, you would think that Canada stood alone, by itself, withdrew from the world stage completely. That's the impression he was giving as he was supposed to be laying out Canada's new foreign policy at a speech at the University of Ottawa. Instead of laying out the policy, he was mostly talking about how bad the other guys were and how they were isolationist. Listen to his comments on Canada and Russia.
Canada's severing of ties with Russia had no positive consequences for anyone. Not for Canadians, not for the Russian people, not for Ukraine, and not for global security.
All right, so is that accurate? No, not at all. First off, Canada was still involved in dealing with Russia through organizations like the G20. Russia's ambassador has been on the record as saying there were still areas of cooperation between the two governments, even during the most heated rhetoric over Ukraine, because there were certain areas where they had to cooperate. So this is fact. Let's also look at some other facts. Trade numbers. Trade with Russia has been going up. It dipped down on the Canadian export side in 2015 from just about $1 billion to $500 million, but we're still importing Russian goods, more than $1 billion worth last year. That's not isolationist, that's engagement. Stéphane Dion has been pushing this idea for a while. Back in January, he was saying the same thing, that Canada had just withdrawn from the world stage.
Look, Canada was speaking to the Russians even at the tough times of the Cold War. And now we are not speaking, almost not, because of the former policy of the former government. In which way it's helping Ukraine? In which way it's helping our interest in the Arctic?
So what's his new policy? Being friendly to Russia while telling them to get out of Ukraine? Russia under Vladimir Putin has become, a bombastic state, a belligerent state. He wants to get the old Soviet Union back together. He illegally seized territory of a neighboring country and is funding rebels in the eastern part of Ukraine. What's the reaction of a democratic leader supposed to be? Supposed to just say, "Tut tut, don't do that, old boy," and move along? Stephen Harper had the right reaction. When at a G20 meeting in Australia, he engaged Putin. He walked right up to him and said, "The only thing I have to say to you is get out of Ukraine." That's not just domestic politics. It's the right thing to do. But under Stéphane Dion and the Liberals, we are moving back towards moral relativism. The Liberals love the moniker honest broker. Well, Dion says that's been confused with moral relativism, so we won't use it anymore, and now he wants to use responsible conviction. Well, there's no conviction left in liberal foreign policy if standing up to dictators, kleptocrats, and, those that would engage their neighbors by stealing territory. If you can't tell them that they're wrong, then you have no convictions, Mr. Dion.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.